Oh, I needed this. I've been so upset about one chapter that I really needed to read this chapter. It was glorious. It was just silly. This is the Doctor Stone chapter 18, and yes, I am the Angry Anime Fan to Despair reviewer. Senku continued to charm the two primitive guys with their soap bubbles. So one of the guys, forgot his name, decides to use secret techniques, which is basically leave it to somebody else, as he calls it. And so Chrome appears, the guy we saw in the picture. And the Chrome, well, he is a bit he's so over the top. Calls himself the genius sorcerer. Since scientist hasn't been invented, I guess sorcerer is good. Of course, Senku just presents himself as Senku the scientist. So he is. Uh, he first berates his two friends by saying that these are just parlor tricks and pops them. The tall guy says that I wasn't scared, frightened, I was just confused on what they were. While the little guy who was run away says I was just straight up frightened. It was Kinro and Ginro, I forgot who was who. But maybe, wait, Kin is golden, so maybe the little guy was Kin and Gin is silver. Never mind. It's so Chrome says he wants to do a sorcery battle. It is pretty funny how one of the guy pictured that. Basically them blasting each other. The living primitive world, and they can still think like that. So he takes them to a special hut where Chrome fetch some things, creates a fire, and creates what he calls a rainbow bridge, as he throws in stuff into the flames without the guys seeing, with the fire change color into blue, green, purple, and yellow. Of course, Senku, who has seen this before, tells us, who knows it is not sorcery, is that it's just he's called that regular old flame color reactions. He's basically from salt, which changes one fire, then copper changes another, and sulfur to another. But he also says, as for copper, you could have used copper sulfur or something. Of course, Chrome realizes that, and I mean, when he realizes Senku knows that, well, he is getting quite a funny face, realizing that no, this is not good. He was actually planning on humiliating Senku and then forcing Senku to either leave the village or beg Senku to make, well, the apprentice. But we all know, since Senku is from the modern, I mean, not the modern world, but yeah, the modern world. He decides to pull something else, even though. So he says, "Do you really think that was sheep trick?" Even though they didn't say anything. So he fetches something else, a big ball that he rubs, and then when he shocks one of his friends, he creates an electric shock, a small one. And according to Senku, because the sulfur ball, he's basically creating static electricity. He threw the sulfur bits into an earth heaven war pot and put it over fire. Then after it cooled down and hardened, you broke it just the clay caught surrounding it to create this. And then another way is a sulfur orb static electricity generator. It was originally it's that's what it really is. So Senku, however, creates a stronger one by using the flag. He creates an even much more stronger generation electric static electricity. And even though Senku lightly mocks Chrome for having such children's science lab experiments, he still praises him despite the fact that it is, according to his mind at least, the children science experiments. Chrome does confirm that he did all of this by himself, meaning that ever since he was a kid, he has loved to collect things. So basically, well, while Chrome hasn't really evolved that much in his science notice, if worth noting that for his people, he is a prodigy, and with a real scientist as a mentor, who knows what kind of mind he can create. The very fact that Senku is proud that despite you trying to eliminate science, there has been one idiotic guy here, another crazy guy who's trying to rise himself up into the science. So he decides that, but he also says that the way you are now, you are not even a match for Tsukasa. So you're gonna join my kingdom of science. It's pretty funny how the way Chrome says, like hell I will, numbnuts. It is pretty funny that despite obviously being a primitive folk, they, they have a very modern way of talking. So he decides to do one final challenge. Apparently, if he loses, he will hand over the storehouse and myself. It's a fight with the arithmetic. I have no idea what it is, but then again, math was always my worst subject, so I don't really know how it is. Of course, Senku wins, no freaking problem. So basically, this chapter was just pure and simple entertainment. I gotta say, I liked it. It's pretty funny how you see this reaction, though, from the primitive people to a modern way. Because if you think about it, I mean, even for me, that was pretty amazing. I mean, not I know static electricity. I just did not know so much that you can change the color of the flames by using different minerals. Did not know that so much. But it is very impressive that, from another standpoint, what Chrome did was basically sorcery. Because I said before, if the primitive people saw what we did, then they will only call that sorcery. So yeah, I mean, it does show that people's minds can still create an interest, even though it's not new. They will still evolve. So that's actually a very good one. All in all, this was just a very entertaining, funny chapter. But give me your thoughts if you have any.